along there that just says 2 minutes of silence. If you're joining today, we're going to be here for about 58 minutes. We'll be doing power yoga and we'll be doing it Vinyasa style, and it just means that we flow from pose to pose to pose. Some people might be accustomed to flowing or going into one pose, I don't know, mountain, and then being instructed to go from there and do, I don't know, a warrior one somewhere else after a pause. And here we kind of flow. We flow from that mountain pose. If we want to get to a warrior one, we flow the whole way back to our mat and we get into that warrior one, and you'll understand that as we go. I am a beginner's teacher when I am at LA Fitness, beginners to intermediate. And I tend to be that as far as my instruction in any of the flows that I'm doing, even if they're a little more advanced. So I will use a lot of words, and I do that on purpose for people who don't know what they're doing. That's a problem for you. You can find your way on. Not every teacher is for every person. And if I happen to be for you, we are meant to be for each other, well then here we are. We're going to start our practice out in child's pose. If that's where you can go to and relax for just a few moments before we begin. Child's pose, your knees would be going wide on your mat. I like to start just sitting on my heels, but that's because I can. And then I like to bring my hands forward. And for me, I usually will rest my head here on my mat that is typically here. For me, this feels good. And if that doesn't feel good, you can certainly modify the pose. You can rest on your forearms. I've seen people do that. Or you can also bring your hands behind you, palms face up. And if you can't get the connection there between the heels and the glutes, well, just do your best. And if it's uncomfortable for you or causing you some sort of pain, then immediately remove yourself from the pose and find one that works better. Maybe fetal pose. We'll be going rather fast today. Beginning to breathe in through your nose and out through your nose exclusively. On your next inhale, just breathe it in at your own pace. You don't need to count. And then exhale. Finding that inhale and just taking your time if you can. And out. This time inhaling it, taking maybe a little more time, and once you get to the top, holding it. And then out through the nose. Breathing now at your own pace. Maybe watching the breath or watching the effect of the breath take over your body. You don't need eyes to see that. Pay attention to your body. It's one of the most important things you learn from yoga, is to pay attention to your body, to your breath, to your mind, and maybe your soul. From here, we'll find our way into a down dog pose. Down dog pose, your hands are towards the front of your mat, your feet are towards the back. You're on the palms of the hands in front, but you're pushing up through the areas around your knuckle and around your thumb, so that you can avoid putting too much pressure here on your wrist. Pushing up through there will allow you to separate your ears from your shoulder, and now maybe you sharpen that upside down V by pushing your glutes a little higher into the air, but also making sure you're looking at your middle section. Beginning here, maybe to now pay attention to your heels, maybe allowing them to start to flow down towards the mat behind you at their own pace. letting gravity do the work and not you. And then looking to the front of your mat and slowly walking forward. We'll meet in a Ragdoll Pose, which means we bend our bodies in half and we grab our elbows. If you feel good with grabbing your elbows, you can begin to bend your body in half. And a lot of people are like me where we can bend, but we can't get any connection a little further down. And if that's where you are, that's perfectly okay. What you can do if you want to get the chest and thigh connection, which is highly recommended, is to bend your knees. And as you bend those knees, you'll sink right on down into that chest and thigh connection. And maybe you'll close your eyes. And maybe you'll sway. And on the next inhale, we'll all lift up to a Tadasana pose. Tadasana just means that our arms come up above our head. Our hands find their way to being above our shoulders. Our palms are facing each other. Maybe the weight is in the heels of your feet. And maybe from the heels of your feet, you can feel your arms and your hands reaching up. And so you're creating a traction within your own body, maybe allowing your spine to strengthen and pull up. So good for your spine and for your mind and your body. And as you exhale, bring your hands down to your side and begin to set an intention for your practice. My husband calls me a hippie when I get to this point, so I'll try to make this part non-hippie. If you want to make an intention for your practice, you're welcome to do so. It can be as simple as, I want to sweat, but it can also be, at the end of this practice, this is how I want to feel. Relaxed, excited, ready to nap, whatever that is for you, find that intention. And then apply it as we go through this practice. I want to relax my body. I want to be patient with my body, whatever that is for you. Now we'll lift our arms all the way back above our head, once again into Tadasana pose. We'll lift up and we'll pull up, and then we'll begin to swan dive forward. It just means your hands come out to your side as you lean forward. And this time we'll come into a fold forward position. And that just means that our hands find their way down to the sides of our feet if possible. Once again, you can bend your knees to get that chest and thigh connection. Trying to get those ears away from the shoulder and maybe begin to tuck your head just slightly. From here, we'll half lift. We'll look forward. So our back is nice and straight. We're not looking really forward, but instead we're kind of allowing our head to just kind of hang down. Look straight out in front of us, which just happens to be about a foot or so. Maybe playing here with the weight in your feet. And from here, we all find our way to a high push-up. Now, I'm going to do the high push-up part of this, but I have an injury that I'm working through. And so when I do chaturangas, I'm just going to call that as we go forward, but you will not see me doing that. So from a high plank, you can find your way all the way down here to your belly. And you can always use your knees if you want to. And when you find your way all the way down to your mat and to your belly, inhale. Just slightly lift up your shoulders from your mat and then push your way back to a down dog. Find your breath here in down dog. I will typically give you a few before we keep going. If a few breaths is not enough for you, or if you need more than a down dog, child's pose is always an option. Looking to the front of your mat. Walking forward into that forward fold. We'll half lift and we'll fold. And then we'll come all the way up into our Tadasana. Just lifting up the arms. Feeling your body and your torso lifting and separating from your hips. As your hips feel like they're being rooted down to your mat. Maybe your heels are performing that rooted sequence for you. We'll lift those hands up and we'll bring our hands down to our side mountain pose. Breathing here. In and out. Now we'll lift our arms up here and we'll begin to speed up our practice. From here we'll begin to swan dive forward just like we did before. The hands will come to the outsides of your feet and you'll bend your knees if need be. You'll half lift, making sure you want to get that back straight, getting those legs straight when you do so. From here we'll come to a high plank pose. And if you prefer to go all the way down to your belly like we did at the beginning there, you're welcome to do so. If you're ready to go more advanced, from here you can come down into a low plank chaturanga, and it just means your upper body is coming down closer to the mat. I'll demo one of my knees, and so it comes down maybe 3-4 inches off the mat. And from here we'll pull forward into an up dog. So our shoulders are kind of above our wrists. We're riding on the tops of our feet. We're maybe looking up as if are allowing our body to arch, which might cause us to look up, but really we're just trying to look forward. As we exhale, we push all the way back to down dog. Breathing here, shoulders away from ear. How sharp is your beat? Where is the weight in your hands? Looking to the front of the mat, beginning to walk to the front. We'll meet in a half forward fold here, and then we'll half lift. We'll fold, and then we'll rise all the way back up to that Tadasana. Always make your Tadasana rise. But if you get to a point in your practice where you get too tired and you're like, if I do one more Tadasana, I'm probably going to have a heart attack, maybe you don't lift your arms up as high. Maybe you don't root your feet. Or maybe you just don't put your arms up and you bring them here. In my studio when I teach, I will let you do whatever you want to do as long as it's in the same area of the postures we're doing. And you're at home now. You can do whatever the hell you want. Just be safe. Be in the general area of where we are. Bring your feet together and lift your arms up. From here, we'll come into a chair pose. So we'll begin to bend those knees, coming down into our chair. Now, we don't want to get our knees bent so much that we get down into a chair pose where we're kind of having to hunch forward and our form is all jacked up. Rather, in the type of yoga that I practice, I'm instructed to bring my hands up, kind of above my shoulders if I get there. You're okay to lean forward a little bit. As you're doing it, you're pulling in that core, but you're also kind of pushing your glutes forward to kind of create a bit of a bowl there, if you will, in your belly. Sitting back, and maybe you look down and make sure that you can see your toenails. And from here, we'll fold. And half lift, making sure your back is straight and making sure your legs are straight. Can you feel the stretch in your calves when you do that? Can you feel it coming up the backs of your thigh? Fold and come all the way back up to Tadasana, mountain pose. We're just going to do a couple chairs, arms up. Sitting back now into our second chair. This time you maybe want to bend your knees a little further. And maybe in this part of the flow, you really work to begin to bring your hips back if you can't see your toes. So in this case, if you're sitting down here, you just cannot see your toes because you're just sitting too far. Lift up. Maybe you're in a bar stool and you're sharing it with your girlfriend. And if you know what I mean, when you're sharing it with your girlfriend, you got to kind of pull that glute together, right? Making room for everyone. Do that here. And lift your hands up. And then fold. And then half lift. And then Vinyasa. High plank, low plank, up dog, and as you exhale, down dog. Now from this down dog, if you're new here and you want to just kind of flow in a more beginner's flow, you can stay right here in the down dog for now. Well, the rest of us can begin to lift our feet up, and maybe our toes are pointing down at the mat. Now from here, if you just want to start to move your ankle around and your foot to get a little just movement in your leg, I like to actually just play around with my whole leg here and just start to get a little movement. From there, we'll return and we'll point those toes down to the mat and we'll push the heel back. Always trying to find a way to get traction in that body. Now step the right foot forward and then rise up for a warrior one. Your right leg is 90 degrees. Your left leg is straight and strong. If you can, your arms are up above your heads and you're remembering that someone is trying to lift you from above. It's your best friend, the person you rely on the most. And so you're allowing them to lift you and you're helping them at the same time. You're pulling yourself back down. For whatever reason, you're holding back. And then we vinyasa all the way back to down dog. Nice. From here, you'll lift that left leg up, and if you move the leg around before, or you just move the foot around, just do what you did before. And maybe here we begin to notice where our right heel is in these sorts of positions, and wonder if we can just at some point allow it to relax down further when we're here and not moving. Now we're going to bring that left foot forward and we'll rise up into our warrior one. Once again, the left leg is 90 degrees. Right leg is straight and strong. The toes of your right foot are pointing out kind of catty corner to the upper right corner of whatever room you happen to be in. And you're sitting down into that warrior while allowing and assisting the pull from above. Allow it to lift and strengthen your spine. And then vinyasa, all the way back to a down dog. Breathe. Bending your knees and looking to the front of your mat, walk, hop, or skip. Forward fold is where we meet and we half lift from there. We fold again. Get that nice fold. Tuck your head just slightly and lift all the way back up to Tadasana. Hands right down to your side. Step your feet together. Arms come up. Tadasana. We're going to swan dive forward from here. And as we fold and we get that nice fold, we'll then half lift. Now we're going to fold, and then from here we're going to lift up into our surprise third chair of the day. So we'll lift up, and here we're just working to continue on about checking our form, making sure that core is pulled in tight. That's what this practice is all about. The stronger your core is, the stronger you will be. I promise. Fold your body in half, and now half lift, and now find your way back to a down dog. Breathe when you get there. All right, we'll lift that right leg up from here. Now, if you lifted it up before and you just moved around your ankle, if that's the best you can do, you keep your ass there. Just stay where you are. Do the best you can do. If somebody around you is advancing, it doesn't mean anything. It just means that they're able to advance. They're not stronger, they're not better, they're not whatever elite, whatever that is. They're just on a different journey from you. And so if your journey involves you opening up and twisting your dog here, which I'm going to try to avoid doing, you may do that. Bringing that right leg up and opening that hip, but paying attention to where your shoulders are. Trying to make sure that they're straight to your mat. Now we'll all come back and point those toes down, and we'll walk the right foot forward and rise up into our warrior one. Once again, we've got the right leg bent. Left leg is straight and strong. You're lifting up and you're allowing yourself to really lift even though you're pulling down on the next inhale, lift. And as you exhale, open your body now into a warrior two. Warrior two, your body begins to point towards the left side of your mat. Your arms are out wide. The hips of your body are pushing to the side of the mat, and you're pulling that core in. Now imagine as you bend that right leg a little more and go for a thigh muscle that is parallel to the mat. Also pay attention to your hands. See if in here you can play with somebody doing a tug of war. And your arms are in the middle of that. And they're pulling and they're pulling and they're pulling. And rather than it being a struggle for you, you notice how it opens you and brings you in the body into something it's never experienced before. And maybe when you get there, that experience is so good, you'll regret never pushing yourself slightly before. Find your way back to a down dog via Vinyasa. High plank, low plank, up dog, and down dog. And sorry for any psychobabble I say. I'm usually talking to myself, actually. Lifting up the left leg. Now, if that's where you played on the other side. If that's where you played on the other side, maybe you also play in opening up that hip and twisting your dog. Go to where you went on the other side. And be happy you got there. Nice. Bring your feet down, your left toes point to the mat, and we'll step the left foot forward. This time we'll rise up. Warrior one, just like we did before, right? And so the bottom of our left thigh here is trying to ride parallel to your mat. The hands are lifting up, and you're inhaling and allowing that lift in your shoulders. It feels so great. As you exhale, open up into a warrior two pose. Now your body is facing the other side of the mat. It's still pointed towards that side of the mat to kind of create a straight surface for which you might be balancing on at your invisible wall. Maybe use that invisible wall to help you strengthen. And pull those hands apart and bring that leg down just a little more. And from here we Vinyasa. High plank, low plank, up dog, and down dog. Nice. We'll look to the front of our mat and we'll bend those beautiful knees and we'll walk off or skip, forward fold. We'll half lift and fold. And then come all the way back up to Tadasana, hands down to your side, mountain pose. Nice. Step those feet together. Oh yeah, we're gonna do it. Arms come back up. This time we'll bring our palms together and we'll pop our index fingers up towards the ceiling or sky above you. Lifting those fingers up as you inhale. And then as you exhale, you're like kind of lifting up and then over. And so it opens a part here on the side of your body to really, really get stretched. And allows the outside of your left body to really stretch and with those obliques and such. Now from here, we'll inhale and lift our body, our hands back up to the skies. And as we exhale, folding now over to the left. And maybe you're able to look up from here. And maybe you're able to breathe. And from here, we bring our hands back up on the inhale. Now we're going to, we're going to keep our hands together. And now we're going to forward fold. So we'll fold our body here at the hips, trying to keep our legs as straight as we can until we get the fold together and we get our hands closer to the mat. Then bending our legs and getting that connection if need be. We'll half lift from here and then we'll find our way back to a down dog. High plank, low plank, up and down, or however you define your own vinyasa. Nice. we'll lift that right leg up. And this time, we'll go ahead and play in a flip dog so that I don't get tempted to go ahead and do my knee game again. And so we're going to bring our feet up. If you are tired and you just want to stay in a down dog or a three-leg dog, you can certainly do that. If you want to lift your leg up again and kind of do that twisted dog, working on your shoulders getting parallel, that's cool too. And if you know how to flip your dog by first coming up and over those shoulders and then bringing that right foot up and over to rest on the mat, you may. For the rest of us, we can bring our foot back. And for those who flip, making your way back now. Right toes face the mat. Stepping the right foot forward. This time we rise up into a crescent lunge. Really, we still have that right leg being bent at the 90-degree angle. We're still trying to get that flat bottom of your right thigh now to be parallel with the mat. The difference is we're standing on the ball of our left foot. And our hands are coming back up over our heads, if that is in our practice today. Sink down and lift up at the same time. And as you exhale, bring your hands down to heart center as if you're pulling that beautiful blue sky with you. Inhaling, and then as you exhale, we'll twist to the right. Maybe taking this left elbow over the right knee and using that as traction or maybe to help you balance. Still trying to get this bend here in the right leg, but trying to lift up as well so that your hands are closer to heart center, as close as you can get them. And if you like, from here, as you inhale, you can open those arms. And as you exhale, we'll bring our bodies back into a warrior two pose to the side of our mat. Looking at and over that right middle finger and bending that right knee. Reversing the warrior, your hands will go in different directions. If you've been trained to look up and over that right elbow, do it. If you were trained to look back, do it. If you were trained a different way, handle your business. Now, as we exhale, we'll bring our right body up and over the right leg. And if we wish to, we can rest our right elbow here on the knee so that we can open up into a side angle pose. Side angle pose, once again, you're either resting on that knee, your hands are maybe separated completely without any use of a block, or maybe you're using the floor or a block. Just pull those hands away from each other. Nice job. And from here, we'll find our way down to our high plank, and we'll vinyasa our way back to down dog. All right, left leg comes up here. If you twisted your dog, twist it. If you flipped your dog, flip it. And if you didn't, stay where you are and build your strength. Find additional strength, even if you're downgrading for now. Where can you find additional stretch in this pose? We all find our way back now to a three-leg dog. Nice. Stepping that left foot forward. Rising up into our crescent lunge. Almost got me again today, guys. Arms are up and over those shoulders. This right leg is straight and strong. That left leg is bent, trying to get the bottom of that thigh riding straight along with that mat. Hands are lifting up and now pulling the hands down as if you're resisting against something and you're pulling down that beautiful sky. And as you exhale, twist to the left side. Keep that right leg straight. Make sure you play here with the left leg. Lift the body up as much as you can, and if you can, open the arms. And as you exhale, we'll open our out to warrior two. Our body is open now to the side of the mat. And we're looking out and over the middle finger of our right hand. Fingers are being pulled away from each other, and then we reverse our warrior. Looking up or looking back, making sure you have that nice bend in the left side of your body. From here, we begin to bring the torso and upper body up and over. Excuse me. And we come into a side angle pose on the left side. Once again, you can rest your knee on or your elbow on the knee. Beginning to open your arms wherever you are, if that is possible for you. Making sure that right leg is strong. Wondering to yourself if you can get a diagonal shape. A straight diagonal coming from your foot all the way up to your hand that is now resting and palm is facing down to the mat. From here, Vinyasa. All the way back to down dog. Catch your breath. Bend your knees and look to the front of your mat. Walk, hop, or skip, and we'll meet in a forward fold. We'll half lift from there, and slowly we'll fold. Checking to see in this fold, how are we doing now? Is the fold a little tighter than it was? How does it feel to you? Do you feel your body responding to the slow relaxation caused by our breath? Half lift, and fold once again. And now lift all the way up. Tadasana pose. Hands to your side mat. We'll do some balancing here. First we'll do something called eagle. This is actually a balancing pose, but this is the way that I describe it in my class. If you're not good at doing balancing, you don't have any confidence in yourself, there's no problem in the world for you to stand right there in your 2 feet. And whatever I say about your legs or your feet or anything like that, I'm not talking to you. And when I start to talk about arms opening and things lifting up above your hips, then I certainly am talking to you. And it would be just as good for you to participate in that part of the practice than any. And so, if you want to play in eagle pose, we'll bring our arms up and above our head. And slowly we'll bring our arms out to our side. I allow my palms to face up when it comes down. I don't know why, it just works better for me. And then I allow my elbows to connect here. I'm not really supposed to lean forward, I just do that for whatever reason. And if I wasn't injured, I would get the connection there at the elbow, and then I would twist my hands so that my 2 palms could meet. Making sure that I'm standing up from there. And if you can't get that connection, just do what I'm doing. Just grab somewhere on the arm. Beginning to lift the right leg up, and maybe lifting it up and over the left leg. And maybe, if it's in your practice, you can bring the top of your foot and behind your calf muscle. Now what we're trying to do here is begin to sit back. You're still trying to think about almost like you're in a chair pose, right? But as you're sitting back, you're trying to lift those elbows up so that they're at the height of your shoulder. And you're pulling in your core as you're doing this and breathing. And then we release. Arms will come back up over our heads, and our arms will come back down into eagle pose on the left. Once again, the right arm will come behind the left this side. You'll get that connection in the hands or wherever you can get it, and then you'll add the balancing aspect that's for you. Left leg comes up and over, wraps behind the right if it can. Mine cannot. And then beginning to sit back as you lift those elbows up. It's not about how far you can lift, how far you can sit. It's about how far you can stay in this pose and feel confident and breathe through it. where you're intended to go. We're releasing here and bringing our hands down through heart center as we do, to ride down to the sides of our hips. We'll do some leg lifts here. Once again, if you don't want to do the balancing part, you can stay on your 2 feet. Some people at this point go, that kind of balancing thing looks kind of interesting. And so maybe they start to just come up to the tops of their toes or something. Or if you want to advance further, go ahead. I'm going to lift my leg up. And I'm going to bring my knee up to where in my mind it seems like it's parallel with my hip. Now other people can bring their knee all the way up into their chest. And those people are typically able to bring their right leg straight out in front of them, and it will be straight forward. And those people can then stay that way and begin to open up. Wherever you get to, find your way. This is the easiest and most basic way for me, for my body to accommodate the pose. But even if it's the basic for me, still getting the benefit, baby. Lifting that right knee out. And noticing that your body now begins to open up to the front. And as you notice that, maybe standing up a little straighter. And maybe as your eyes are on a point in front of you that you can walk on, you bring your hands out and your palms are facing in front of you. And if you still want to challenge your balance, maybe looking out and over the left hand. Breathing wherever you are. And then bring it all back to center. Kick the right foot back and lean forward, coming into your airplane pose. Pushing the heel back maybe here. Palms are facing your mat. Shoulder is somewhat lifting up as if you're in that little cobra pose we started with. And we release. Nice job. Breathe. Hands come back down to our hips. Left leg comes up. Wherever it went on the right side, bring it to here. Now once again, you can open that leg out and allow your body to open up to the front side of the room. And for me, I like to allow myself to do that and imagine it's there, because in my mind, it just kind of gives me stability. I know there's something in front of me, even though I know that thing is not there. We begin to lift our hands off our body. If that is in our practice, maybe the palms are facing forward. And from here, we look to the right. Bringing our hands and our knee back to center. Kicking back as you lean forward, airplane pose. Maybe if you want to play around here, you can bring your hands out in front, Superwoman, Superman, and then release. Breathe. Arms come up, Tadasana. Swan diving forward, forward fold. Slowly. Half lift. And then, Vinyasa back. Finding your way to a down dog. Lift up that right leg, toes are pointing down. I can't resist. We're going to take that right knee and we're going to bring it to our nose, and we're going to bring our shoulders over our wrists. And then we'll bring that back. Okay, I've got it out of my system now. Now we'll bring the right foot forward and we'll rise up into a warrior one. Going all the way back to our warrior one, where our leg is straight on the left and bent on the right. Trying to get those hips to the front side of the room or the mat that you're standing on as best you can. Lifting your hands up as you inhale. Now as we exhale, we'll open our body up into that warrior two that we were doing before. And as we inhale, we'll now reverse that warrior. Getting that bend in the right side of your body, but also straightening that right leg. And as we exhale, we'll lift our right arm and our upper body all the way up and over and find our way into a triangle pose. Right hand comes to your shin, or maybe it's on a block, or maybe it's on the mat. Your left arm is reaching up and you have that tug of war effect here between your hands. And you're imagining all through your body where you may have triangle shapes now forming. And from here, we'll bring our bodies forward and find our way in to a high plank, making our way back, all the way back to a down dog. Breathe in. Lifting up our left leg, stepping it forward. Bringing the knee forward to touch the nose. And if you stepped it forward, good luck. Or good for you. Now bringing it back, and now stepping the left foot forward. Re-rise up into that warrior one. Lift, lift, lift on the inhale. And as you exhale, do your best to get to the warrior two that you recall. It doesn't need to be perfect as we reverse that warrior, getting that bend in the left side and getting that left leg nice and strong. Lifting the upper body up and over now, the left side of the body. Right hand comes up. And imagine if your two hands were in a straight line with each other. Imagine the triangles that are being formed by your legs. Just lift up and breathe. And from here, we'll fold to the side of our mat, which I believe would be the right sides of our mat. And we'll stand up. Our feet will be out wide on our mats. Stand up, maybe bringing your hands to heart center. Or reverse prayer behind your shoulders. Or if that's like, whoa, I can't do that, you can even grab your elbows here. And just use that. Your legs are nice and straight and strong. You're lifted up as much as you can. And now as you inhale, you lift up just a little higher. Maybe you look back. And as you exhale, you begin to fold your body in half. Now only go halfway here because you have options. As you go halfway, if you know how and go into a deeper inversion, you may do it, inhaling and then finding your way there. If you don't know what that is, folks, please don't try to do it. Stay where you are here, make a decision. Now, if you've been dizzy and down dog or some of that, that's an inversion. Inversion is not new here, we're just doing a different kind. But if down dog or things like that make you dizzy, well, this definitely will. And so maybe for you, you want to stay up and bring your knees out wide, and you're kind of sitting your body in a straight line, pulling in that core, and maybe you lift your arms up for guidance. Now, if you wanted to go forward and invert, maybe you just bring your hands to your knees, and maybe you just let your hands find their way down your leg. As your head finds its way down and past your heart, and anytime you do that, you're in an inversion. Finding the depth that feels good for you, maybe even bring your hands to the mat, maybe even coming into a headstand of your choice, just briefly. And from here, we'll half lift. Exhale. And then we'll lift all the way up. I like to bring my arms up here as I lift. And then I come forward and find my way into a high plank. Vinyasa back. To down dog. From your down dog, we'll come into Scooby-Doo. We're we're going to lift our right leg up. And we'll bring that knee forward. We're going to come into a half pigeon, folks. So however you choose to get there. I know I like to bring my knee to my elbow, my right elbow, and let my knee slide down. It just helps me to get things lined up better by doing that. You want your right leg to kind of sort of be straight out in front if it can. But I can't do that. I don't have that flexibility. So I do the best to have my shin as far as it can forward, and making sure that you don't hurt yourself. I've tried to have it as far further as I can, and actually, I felt it the next day. So if you're in your half pigeon and you like to power up, you can go about the process of doing that. Or if you'd like to power down and bring your forearms down to the mat, and then rest your head, you may do that as well. Maybe sinking further in as you watch that breath. Watching that breath just like we did at the beginning. We inhale. And exhale. And find your way back to a down dog. Left foot comes up. Knee to elbow. Find your half pigeon. And wherever you go to, begin to inhale now. And exhale. Inhale like we did at the beginning. And exhale. And rock to the left side of your body and bring your right foot around. We're going to do a seated pigeon stretch, so the bottom of your left foot is on the inside of your thigh. You're pulling in that core. And you're lifting your body up, just like we did before, as if someone is helping you to lift up and out of that spine. And as we do that, our arms lift up to enable that lifting up. And then we begin to fold forward over that right leg. Now, if you can bring your hands to the bottom of your feet, good for you. But there's no prize for that, unfortunately. So if you're not able to do that, well, good. You're not losing out on anything by just doing the best you can. And so if that just means folding over the leg and trying to keep your ears away from the shoulder, do that. Just feel the stretch in the back of your thigh. Switch sides. Bottom of the right foot comes in. Pull the core in and allow yourself to begin to lift. Lifting those hands up. And as you exhale, keeping it all pulled in, fold. Breathe. Both feet forward, arms up. Lift up. Now folding forward, doing the best you can. Shoulders and ears separated. Back is somewhat straight, mostly straight if you can. From here, roll all the way back to your back. Maybe take a few breaths. We'll do some bridge pose from here. You can bring the backs of your feet about an inch or so from your glutes. Whatever feels comfortable. And you'll bring the hands, the pads of your hands, down to your mat, somewhere past your waist. Might even come down all the way down close to your feet. But it's outside of your feet. You're not touching your feet. Breathing in here and out. And on the inhale, begin to lift yourself up into your bridge pose. If you're new here, maybe you just start to lift your hips up off the mat and kind of feel how that feels just to do it a little bit. And if it feels good, maybe you go a little further. Backing off anytime it starts to feel uncomfortable, unless that's just your edge and you want to press it. You'll know the difference. Lifting those hips up as you breathe, and then bringing them all the way back. Now you can find your way into a Supta Baddha Konasana here, where the bottoms of your feet are touching, and your knees come out wide like a butterfly. Maybe your hands are in heart center here or out. Or if it feels better for you just to take your legs and do what we call windshield wiping them back and forth, you just try to release your back out a little bit. We'll do a second bridge here, and you can change where your hands are on the mat if you choose to. In the second bridge, I usually bring my hands out to the sides with my palms facing down, around my shoulder height. My feet are still together, my legs are still together, and they're close to my bum. Breathing in and out. And then as you inhale, lifting up. And what I normally find when I do this is I go, oh, I feel weight and it's coming up on my shoulders. And at first it scared me because I thought I might hurt myself. But I challenged my edge and I kept pushing. And I noticed how good that feels when it opens up my shoulders. And bringing your hips back down to the mat. Windshield wipe or Supta Baddha. We'll do one more bridge pose here. Actually, I think we'll call it. Sounds so good. I hope a good slow song is on your playlist now. If not, find one. Lift your legs up. Find your way into your version of happy baby. Now, a lot of people like to fly their legs or, kind of open up their thighs. And some people might feel that's uncomfortable. It doesn't feel right to do that. But yet some people feel like they have to do it. You do not. If somebody tells you to do happy baby, stay in a place you feel comfortable. Or just bring your knees up just slightly and rock right and left. And the next time your knees come to the left side, you'll bring them to the side and open your body up. So your palms are facing up and your shoulders are on the mat. And maybe your eyes, closed or not, begin to glance to the right hand. And as you exhale, you switch. Now looking over the left hand, shoulders on the mat. Breathing. And from here, we'll find our way into our Savasana. You can take whatever Savasana feels good for you, and I highly recommend it. If you've been working out and sweating, it's good to let it all settle into your body. It's also great for your mind to let it all settle together. And so you can bring your knees to the side into fetal pose. You can just climb onto your belly. You can open your arms and legs wide. Just start to breathe. And close your eyes if it feels safe. Finding your way to fetal pose if it is your desire to end in seated. There's no rule that says you have to end in seated. End in the way that feels good for you. Wherever you end up, keeping your eyes closed. Found a story the other day by Rumi. It's called The Guest House. It says, this being human is a guest house. Every morning is a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they are crowds of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. He or she may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice. Meet them at the door, laughing, and invite them in. Be grateful for whatever comes, because each guest has been sent as a guide from beyond. I wish you well, yogis, and I'll see you next week. Namaste.